fascinating email from a guy named B.T. Schaub, who writes, I just finished listening to your podcast where there was a discussion on the Ukraine-Russia war. Some of the thoughts that came out were of particular interest to me. Since 2013, except for COVID 2020, I have spent several weeks in Russia each summer near the Siberian border in the Urals, not in the flashy cities of Moscow or St. Petersburg, but in an oblast, a think state of around 1 million population. During World War II, it was a major mining and military industrial complex. It still has a MiG plant there, and when doing excavation in a nearby field, MiGs would frequently fly overhead after taking off from a nearby airfield. Once back home, I would routinely get asked questions about the Russian people, the treatment we receive from the local population, our work there in the Russian military. I believe the first impressions, whether a city, state, or country, are efficient in the manner in which is governed and the transparency of its officials. However, one of the most obvious methods for an outsider was, you know what? Look at this printing. It just...
That's because you do your stupid save a tree thing.
Yeah. Gee whiz.
Are you going to give up?
You want me to read it?
Going to give up halfway through?
Just do every other word.
I'm going to try it.
Chris, can you get the actual letter on a computer screen and maybe help the old man out?
Who did it come from,
no,
Joe?
I would have deleted it last week.
That's another thing.
Who did it come from, Joe?
B.T. Schaub, S-C-H-A-U-B.
Why do I know that name?
I don't know.
What's the story about?
Russia.
Such.
So he's saying one way to judge a place is infrastructure, not just by the government, but by the citizens themselves.
Right.
Lack of maintenance, open fields used as dump sites by locals, poor housing repair, all can give the impression of a society that has neither the desire or the resources to do things correctly. You keep saying to yourself, obviously, there is no Menards in town. As an example, the first year there, a manhole cover was missing in the middle of a road. An old tire was placed around it as a warning to drivers. 9 years later, there was a stack of 3 tires and a tree had started growing out of the manhole. Houses were corrugated tin on one half of the roof and tar paper on the rest were common. Always a handmade wooden ladder nailed to the top of the roof to help remove snow in the winter. Houses listing at 3 degrees were jacked back up to level. They just replaced doors and windows with no square cornered ones to fit. My frequent response to those asking about the Russian military was, I don't fear them. Half their tanks and equipment probably have had their batteries stolen already and won't start. As for Russian military leadership, each summer many military officers would stay at our hotel for an annual inspection of the military complex in the city. Each morning, the lower ranks would board buses to parts unknown. Usually, colonels would have staff cars driven by privates. In the evening, numerous Ubers and taxis would show up at the hotel delivering female escorts, typically 2 at a time. Some mornings, they would still be in the hotel having breakfast with the officers. The officers, eyes bloodshot, moving slowly, probably were still drunk. They were easy to pick out. The hotel waitresses look forward to the escorts each summer. They can make an extra 10% on their paychecks for room service orders. The escorts would frequently encourage the military officers to add additional tips. While we worked with the government officials and archaeologists and members of the Russian equivalent to our FBI, it was readily apparent all decisions must go through Moscow, researching historical documents. Even simple construction plans were mostly marked classified by Moscow. One archaeologist said it would take him a year to get information from the Moscow archives because of all the red tape. And he goes on to say that older Russians who only get information from TV or radio may show support for Putin. Younger Russians who have traveled outside of Russia are in tune with the internet and are more likely to be against this war. Many Russians still have a family in Ukraine and are getting the true news through chat and cell phone conversations. There you go.
That's fascinating.
It doesn't sound like they keep up a very nice proprietary interest in their belongings, does it?
I think
it kind of sounds like St. Paul.
Unfortunately, it does a bit.